So I'm John Lunn from Braintree, and I'm going to talk about disrupting money. So, this year is the 50th anniversary of Moore's Law. That means processing power has doubled every 1.5 years for 50 years. Just to illustrate what that means. So in 1980, 1 meg of storage would have cost $700. That means your average MP3 you have now would have cost $2,800 to store. Nowadays, that costs 0.001 of a dollar. So basically, this revolution in the commoditization, I should say, in the price of hardware has enabled software to move into every part of our world. Software is ripping through industry at a speed of knots, and as Mark Andreessen put it, it's eating the world, but it really is eating industry. Another factor that's kicked in here is adoption. So if I tell you it took 38 years for 50 million people to get radio, it took 13 years for 50 million people to get TV. It took 10 years for 50 million people to get cable. 4 years for 50 million people to get internet. And you know what? Apple have announced by the end of this year, in 9 months, they would have sold 50 million iWatches, or Apple Watches. That's how quickly technology has been adopted. And this, digestion of everything by technology has moved really into industry. So the S&P 500, which is the list of the top 500 companies in the world, in 1935, once you were on that list, you were there for an average of 90 years. Now you're on that list for 18 years. That means by 2027, 75% of the companies that you see today and you know today will no longer be listed on that. That means one company every 2 weeks from now on will vanish and be replaced by someone else. And these are not small companies. These are companies like Eastman Kodak, New York Times. These are big companies. Radio Shack, Sears, they've all dropped off that list. So based on this innovation, based on this speed, it's ripping through everything. It's ripping through and it's changing everything that we do and everything we see. And that, of course, includes money. So money is changing hugely. Today, 40% of what you spend is cash or checks. In 2 years' time, that will only be 25%. That's how quickly it's changing. And money has become completely digital. So no longer does loads of money get put on vans and driven to trains and trains get robbed by Phil Collins. That doesn't happen anymore because money is instantly digital, which means it's instantly stealable. So the technology behind trying to keep an eye on that money and where it's going has sped into the whole realm of data science, etc. But the average American company gets attacked 7 million times a year by hackers, 7 million times. And I can promise you that's pushed very, very high by any company that deals with money. So money itself is changing. And even further, I predict in the next 3 to 5 years, the way that you interact with money will change more than it has in the last 20 or 30 years. That's going to the way you spend money, the way you save money, the way you lend money. All of that is about to completely change. And that, of course, is because of your mobile. Now, I do not believe your mobile will be your wallet. And this is the reason for that is there will be, by 2020, be 50 billion connected devices in the world. 50 billion of these around there. There are 7 billion mobile phones in the world. That is more mobile phones than there are bank accounts by a factor of 3. There's so many. This mobile phone sits here, but why your mobile phone won't be a wallet is you have a broken clicker. Oh, there you go. You will actually have, an American citizen today has 5. You will have 5 very shortly here, 5 connected devices in your property. And if you have 5 connected devices, why should only one of them be your wallet? Your wallet should actually be able to talk to all 5 devices, whether it's a tablet, a TV, or even horribly an internet fridge. All of those things should be able to talk to your wallet. What your phone becomes, what your mobile becomes, is the window into your wallet to see where your financial activity is happening. Yes, you could use it to pay, but you will also use it to look at what else is paid. And I strongly believe that your things are going to start paying for you very, very soon. At the moment, if you think about IoT and everything that's happened in the IoT world, it's been very much about us as humans going to see what's going on in our home, for example. It's not been our home doing stuff for us. And that's going to change very, very soon. You will find within the next year or so that you are going to buy things that are going to do shopping for you. This is really important because we want to know when to pay, but also how to pay. So how you choose to pay might be card, might be credit, might be bank statement, might be bitcoins, might be anything. But as a merchant, someone accepting money, I need to accept all of that. But also when to pay. Why do I have to pay for stuff now? Why, when I go shopping, do I have to pay for the thing before I've even tried it? Why can't I pay later? Why can't I just make that decision when I get home? When I get home, I can look at my bank statement and say, okay, I can afford to pay this in installments. Or, no, I'll spend it, I'll save it now. Why do I have to make that decision immediately when I'm at the point of sale or I'm on an online checkout? Another thing that's completely changing everything is cross-border. So cross-border for PayPal is 25% of our business. So 25% of all the revenue PayPal earns is people shopping cross-border. And these shoppers are from places like the USA, UK, Germany, Australia. 79% of shoppers asked say they prefer to pay with PayPal overseas. And that is because they use different ways to pay. Really interesting that one part that all of us naturally think people buy stuff from China. Well, here's the news. China is now the second largest buying power in the world. The Chinese shop only after the Americans. They've overtaken all of us within 1 year's time. We have merchants in Australia that have grown 1,400% this year purely by sales to China. We have one merchant that's grown 40,000% this year, an Australian merchant, by selling to China. He now sells as much stuff to Chinese residents as he does to Australians. This power from China, this huge buying power that's coming out of these emerging, new internet emerging markets is huge. It's going to completely change the way we look at money because these guys don't pay with credit cards. They don't pay with the way that we're used to being paid. They pay with completely different ways. So cross-border, again, is going to change everything. Consumers really like their money. And consumers really like to spend their money when they want to spend their money. What they don't want is someone else telling them how to spend their money or when to spend their money. So some things really, really annoy consumers. One of those things is really bad mobile checkout experiences, right? The ability to make a payment on your phone in the way that's basically the web copy and pasted onto a mobile really annoys consumers. And that has completely killed internet shopping on mobile for a long period of time until new technologies have come, like the Braintree One Touch. Other things consumers don't like is queuing to pay. Why do we queue to pay? They also don't like people getting in the way. Why are you asking me 100 security questions when I just want a damn coffee? These kind of things need to get the hell out of the way and do something that we refer to as beautiful commerce. So all of you here have tried an Uber cab. All of you here have probably been on Airbnb. No one here actually noticed the payment experience because payment is boring and no one wants to do it. It's the worst part of shopping. So that just needs to get the hell out of the way. So a beautiful commerce experience is like getting out of the Uber cab for your first time and going, what happened? Because the first time you do it, you're a bit confused. Third time you don't think, why the hell did I ever carry cash and pay a cab before? Because that's a beautiful commerce experience. And that's why payment and finance in this world just needs to get out of the way. Let people get when they want it. The mobile experience is also really important. 7 out of 10 shoppers prefer to buy on a mobile website than they do on an app. So all of us have spent all these years building beautiful checkout experience from apps on phones, when actually consumers want mobile sites on phones to have beautiful checkout experiences. And we've been working very hard with something called One Touch that allows you to have that invisible checkout experience on mobile. And that needs to happen. So when you're thinking, I'm going mobile, make sure your website has a beautiful checkout experience just like your app has. The next generation of apps or not apps or whatever you want to call them are something that's called invisible apps. Invisible apps act like apps, but they're invisible. They don't actually do anything. So there's things like Magic, where you can text, I want a tiger, and they will deliver one to you. You don't have an app. It happens invisibly. There's a whole kind of invisible personal assistant now. So I have a digital personal assistant who will book meetings for you, and you can ask to book a meeting with me. You will get responses. It will go into my diary. It's a computer. It's a robot. It does all that. And my favorite invisible app at the moment is for those of us who are too busy to get a girlfriend. It's a great invisible app. It's called Invisible Girlfriend, right? And what this thing does is it sends you texts and pictures and adds things to your diary like you're having dinner, so you can show your mum that I'm really not that lonely. You should get that one. It's a good one. All right. A lot of these things being built are actually mashups. So a lot of people using things like Parse for their database, Twilio for voice, SendGrid for email. And what people really need to build these invisible apps, these new things, is somewhere that they can outsource the payment bit to. And when I say the payment bit, it's the security about the payment bit. And that has just changed. Because over the last year and a half, something called tokenization has happened. And tokenization Easiest way to describe it is it's just like a poker chip. So it means money, but it's not money, right? So a token is like a poker chip. So what's happened is the industry has come up with this idea of tokenization, where I can give you a token that represents my payment details, and you can look after that token and use it to take money from me. But if anyone steals it from you and tries to use it, it won't work. And this means that suddenly I can delegate security. So I can hand it out, and tokens begin given to merchants, which means if they get hacked, it doesn't really matter. Or I can give them to machines, so if they go wrong, it doesn't really matter. And tokenization is changing everything now. It's really going to accelerate the way that you're able to pay without doing anything. Another part of this is what we would call in-store, so in-store shopping. So we've been doing lots and lots of experiments around in-store. So we've trialed face payments, so the ability to wave at the cashier because your face has appeared on the till and you checked in through GPS. We've used beacons. We've done experiments around beacons, so being able to walk in, have a Bluetooth beacon detect you, and identify where you are. We're currently trialing NFC in Australia, and we've tried a variety of other things. And the truth is, one of the conclusions we've come to is there's not going to be one way to pay. It's not going to be you're going to pay with your mobile phone, or you're going to use NFC here, or you're going to use cash there, or some other experience. It's actually going to be down to the experience, not that we determine, but actually the merchants determine. So there's a reason some of you, or all of us, probably spend a whole day in a certain furniture shop eating meatballs and putting our kids in balls of rooms. And it's not to buy fricking furniture, I can tell you. We go to these furniture shops and we spend the whole day there because it's an experience. And yes, we might end up with a cupboard, but actually it's an experience. You go to the Apple store, for example, because you have a nice experience. You could buy that same thing online and probably have it delivered the same day, but you have a nice experience. And we purchased a company called Paydiant this year that does things like the Starbucks and the Subway app. And they are concentrating the end-to-end experience because the merchants, the retailers are going to win, are the one who's going to take you from the beginning of an experience to the end. So before you walk in the shop, they're going to take you into that shop, through that experience, right through to an invisible payment you don't even know happens, and right out. And this is how payments are changing because you don't see them. So our view of PayPal and Braintree is we're building this infrastructure behind it. So we want to build an infrastructure that's going to enable beautiful commerce, whether it's online or in store. And we want actual retailers, the people who own the customers, to build whatever they need to build on top of that experience and build a really beautiful shopping experience. Now, we've just started, right? So all of the time we're sitting here in the money conf. Here's a kind of sobering stat. $25 trillion commerce market in the world. Only 10% of that commerce is currently e-commerce or online commerce. And only 1% of that commerce is actually happening through digital wallets. So people say, aren't you being attacked by disruptors? Aren't other people coming? Look, we've got 99% of commerce out there for all of us in this room to start disrupting. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to disrupt it by making money invisible. We're going to make payments invisible. We're going to make money easy. And if you want to know what's going on, you're going to look at your phone, and that's going to be the window to your wallet. So that's the future. The disruption of money is you're just not going to see it. Thank you, everyone.